Hey everyone, just a quick reminder, it is December, and that means every video in December has a chance for you to win a free game. All you have to do to enter is leave a comment on that video for a chance to win. More information in the description. Okay, I don't know if I've done this joke before, it's been a while since Overwatch, but it's also Christmassy. And this is a video I would have made if we were still doing Overwatch, but we're not, so I'm just going to use this as a throwaway joke. And if I've used it before, my bad. It's actually really bad, so Jinx can cut it if it's bad. Really bad. But here's the joke. Here's a joke. Torbjorn, do you want to push a payload? I have nothing else right now. Welcome, friends. ScarfVLOG'D here, and it's time to talk about whatever's on my mind. Okay, so first 5 or less minutes, just politics, get that out of the way, because I feel like it is important to talk about it if it's on your mind. Don't just let it sit in there, because no, you gotta talk about things that are worrying you, and I am a little worried about things politically. So if you don't want any of that, just skip like 4 or 5 minute mark. Just go there. I will definitely cut off at that point. I will not keep going, because I don't want this all to be about politics, because not everyone cares about that. People want entertainers not to talk about politics, but the truth of the matter is we should all talk about politics at least a little bit, so that we have a better understanding of it, because too many of us don't know what the hell we're talking about. And it's very frustrating. We're going to talk about today a little bit more about taxes, Jerusalem a little bit as far as politics go, and then we're going to talk about just game stuff and giveaways and things like that. And at the end, the topic I want to talk about is representation of things and misinterpretation. So starting out politics, there's like 2 or 3 minutes, 3 or 4 minutes. The tax. Like, we're still talking about the tax a little bit. And one of the things is, because of how they rushed it and how sloppy it was done and everything, it screwed over coal. This is not good. Coal got screwed over, because it's like, there's so many people who believed in the 2016 election and the things that were going to come from that. This is why Republicans have control over everything. They won the majority in everything, and Trump got president everything. And Trump was, of course, backing coal, and a bunch of Republicans were backing coal. And this new tax reform screws over coal horribly. They're like, we're going to lose millions on this. We're going to have to fire a bunch of people. We're going to lose a lot of jobs. What's going on? I thought you had our back. And this is what happens. Lots of different groups that have been backing this side have been getting screwed over one at a time. And it's just like, everyone's getting screwed over. And this is kind of what happens when you go by populism push, because Trump was doing very much populism, which is he's telling everyone vaguely enough that he's going to back them, so they all believe in him, and that's why they vote for him. And different groups are getting screwed over. Veterans got screwed over at one point. Coal's getting screwed over here. Anyone in LGBT who actually thought he had their back, I can't believe you thought he had your back. They got screwed over, of course. And then different groups have gotten screwed over in the South and in the East in different ways. And it's just, holy crap, I don't know how you thought he was going to back you up. Of course, there's also the trade stuff where China was the enemy through all that, and then Trump has now turned around like, no, China's great. It's our fault. It's our fault that China did the things it's done to us. And it's like, okay, buddy, okay. It's not the best. It's not the best at all. Oh, we're also going to talk about Patreon. But not yet. I've been reading a lot of different opinions and thoughts on the tax stuff, and I don't have anyone who's positive about it. I have not found anyone who's positive about it at all. What I found interesting was reading Indie Gamer Chick's tweets about it, because she doesn't really talk about politics, but she knows that she's in the 1%. Her family's really big on venture capitalism, and she said nothing about the tax reform from the Senate side does anything that helps her. It actually hurts her, and it actually punishes venture capitalism. And like, well, that's not good, because venture capitalism leads to just new business and new ideas coming out. And to hear that from her, that's not good, because following her for years, she's really into venture capitalism. So that worries me a little bit, because she's saying we're not innovating then if we don't have enough incentives for that. This actually makes things worse. And I'm like, that's not good. That is not good at all. Hearing that, of course, Cole has said earlier, they're getting screwed over as well. That's not good at all. Okay, running a long time. So one other thing is Trump trying to get us into a war? Because it worries me. All that North Korea stuff, if North Korea attacks, it hits where I live. We have a lot of military bases here. This is the perfect place to get hit. That worries the balls out of me. I really don't want North Korea shooting at us at all. I would like that. On the other side, of course, is Jerusalem. Now, I remember it was about a year ago when I was reading up on Jerusalem and Palestine and Israel and all that stuff. The projections were, if things sail as smoothly as they can be, then sometime next 50 years, maybe they can have some sort of peace. Like real peace where things aren't going wrong. But with Trump's announcement of Jerusalem being the capital of Israel and basically backing that pony, there's a lot of unrest over there again. That's not good. Like, we've always been kind of neutral and quiet about what we do, but because Trump is Trump, he loudly went about his business there, and it's not good. It's not good at all. So, worried about that as well. Definitely worried about that. Really. And enough of politics. Okay, so, other things, phone. Okay, so big fires. There's one near me, and it's scary. It's really scary. If you're in California, I hope you're safe. I hope your homes are okay. A lot of homes have been lost. A lot of fire has happened, and it's scary. Very scary. I think those are the only big disaster right now is just fires in California where I'm at, and that's not good. I think it's snowing in Texas, so good for you guys if you like snow. It's scary, and just be safe. I've been through a couple of these fires. A quick story, this will be interesting. There was the 2004 and 2007 fires. These were huge. Literally, San Diego was surrounded by fire. Literally surrounded by fire in 2004 and 2007. I think it was 2007. And these fires were ridiculous. Now, I was in high school during the first one. And here's what I'll tell you if you don't understand how scary these fires are. When the first one happened, I didn't know what was going on. I look outside the window and it's raining ash. It's literally like, I'm like, snowing? No, it's ash. Just ashes falling to the ground. And I'm like, oh, what's this? And it's like snow. Your world is covered in ash. Your world is just covered in... It's like, if you've never seen what ash is, like, it's basically what comes out of a cigarette, like when a cigarette gets burned out. That's all that is. So if you burn paper, there's your ash right there. The world was just covered in that. The houses were, the streets were. You could only breathe it in. There was no other way around it. And if you looked up at the sun, it was like this weird orange red. And I thought the apocalypse was coming, because it was like, this is ominous as fudge. This is scary. What is up? And it took a great many hours to learn that we were having a forest fire happening. It wasn't just one, it was 5 or 7 fires. And it goes on for days. They're like, we only have like 10% containment, 30% containment, 50% containment. And it's like, homes are burning down. It's just really scary. If you were driving around, you would see the fires. Like going to school, seeing the fire. Holy crap. It's just there in the distance. It's just there. Smoke, fire, hell is in front of you as you're just driving to school. Scary, crazy. It's the closest to a feeling of hell. Like, holy crap, just the fire and the ash. And you can only breathe it in. It's everywhere. It's in the air. It was next level stuff. Then in 2007 or 2009, I can't remember. I was in college at the time. I'm trying to remember when I was in college. It's been a while. But it happened again. There was another big series of fires. I think it was only 5 this time, but they were still huge. And I'm attending, of course, college. And they canceled college for a week. A whole week. Like, this is classes getting missed, tests being missed, whatever. Like, they canceled for a week. Because they were worried about the breathing of the students. Like, everyone was walking around with gas masks, like, with those white mask things, like the ones you usually see Asian people wear all the time. But, like, everyone's wearing them. And it was funny seeing people with umbrellas, like that's gonna do anything. But just ash. You would walk through ash. It was something else. And, yeah, just basically couldn't attend college for a week. I lived on campus during that year, so... It's like, well, I'm just here. Like, basically just breathing it in. You can close your windows, but you still need air from somewhere. And it was, again, just not the best, just seeing, and it got close to taking out my dad's house. It was very close. It did not get that far, but it was close. And yeah, these fires be scary. This fire that's happening right now, it's far enough away that I shouldn't be worried about it. Unless another one happens. But, oh my god, up north over in Ventura, just hundreds of houses getting burned. Hundreds of thousands of acres getting burned. It is not fun. Just let you know that nature don't play sometimes. And the wind, it's because of the wind. It's really weird. It's because of just dryness, but also the wind. The wind blowing heat and embers and all these things. And the wind has been very powerful. It's been 80 miles per hour in some places. I got hit with 40 miles over here. And it just knocks you over a little bit. It's kind of just, you're like, whoa. Just an invisible force pushing you. It's really crazy when it happens. And I had the great luck of having to work on dirt roads that day, so I got covered in so much dust. Breathing sucked. And it's just next level stuff, just nature being a bit on the crazy side. And it's just, wow. Nature's scary. And it's quite despicable that it's still a political issue that global warming's a thing, and that we're the only ones not in the Paris Accords anymore. The only ones. It doesn't take effect until 2020 though, because it takes 4 years to pull out. And I think that provision is especially there in case if a president doesn't want in and then the next one wants in. But it should not be a political issue. It should not be a faith or belief issue. It should just be a scientific issue of, the only issue it should be is an economic issue. That's really what it should be. It is, can we afford to do clean energy instead of what we've been doing right now, which is hurting the environment and everything. That's really all it is. It should never have been political in any way. It should have been something we all needed to solve together. The fact political is really stupid. And so I worry about what's coming up because we keep getting hit with these superstorms and just really, really bad weather and really bad nature, and it's scary. It's really scary. And I'm just worried about that. Just in general, worried about that, and reminded of it by the fires, and reminded of it by the hurricanes, and reminded of it by just the superstorms that happen. Oh my god. The good news is that alternative energy is getting cheaper to the point that it's actually more worthwhile than traditional, which is good news. That usually what happens in time is technology eventually becomes cheaper enough that everyone can use it. And as that keeps getting progressed on, then we'll see what can happen. Because if we get to a point where alternative energy is just cheaper, is just more affordable than traditional energy in general for everyone, then we could see a good turnaround. That's at least the hope. Or we could see everything going to the point where everyone's like, oh, we're doing better, and then we stop being proactive. That could also happen as well, which is a worry. Ubisoft's making giveaways, everybody. So, as of this vlog right now, you have like a day or so to pick up World at War. Let me double check. I have the link right here. We'll put the link in the description. It is World in Conflict, which is an RTS from 10 years ago. My understanding. I didn't even remember this game. So Ubisoft has 2 10-year anniversaries. That's one of them. And so if you, I believe you go to Uplay. It's called Uplay, right? Usoft, whatever it's called. You go there, you'll be able to get a free download of that game. Next week, though, from the 11th or the 12th, for 1 week, Assassin's Creed Black Flag is for free. So if you've never played, like, I'm going to download it. If you've never, ever played an Assassin's Creed game, this is apparently one of the really good ones, so go for it. I'm going to get it. I've never played a single Assassin's Creed game, just never cared about it. I know a lot of people like this one, so I'm going to download it. I'm going to try it out myself. And if you've ever wanted to play this one specifically, because it's Assassin's Creed with pirates, here you go. It's right there. Give it a shot. It's free. Why not? That's awesome. And yeah. Other things. Oh, giveaways. So we'll do another Gleam. So we did 10 out of 10 games, 10 winners for November, and that was pretty cool. And we're going to do a 25. We're going to do a 25 in December for 25 games, 25 winners. I'll put up the games list. It's going to be a mix of lesser knowns well-knowns, and maybe one or two like really like, holy crap, yeah, these are awesome games in that giveaway. Or I might make them hidden. I don't know if it's better to make all the games hidden or to make them known. Like, what would get people more interested, I wonder. But it's going to be a 25 game, 25 winner giveaway, and it's going to start as soon as I finish this vlog, so I'll put it together. And then it's going to go until like the 6th or 7th of January, so that when it ends, I'll be able to just do it right then and there. So a weekend. I can't do it during a weekday, obviously. So that's the plan. Give people plenty of time to participate. Tell your friends, spread it around so that everyone has a chance at this. It's a lot of games. So give everyone a chance to win something. That'll be really great. And yeah, so that'll be a giveaway coming up. I'll put the link will be in the description down below as well. That'll be a good thing to have. Other one is, now this doesn't really affect us, fortunately, but it affects a lot of people. And that is, let's talk about Patreon. So here's my understanding of Patreon. And honestly, I should have it up really quick because maybe I will misread this off the top of my head, so I should just have it here. So here it is. Okay, so starting on December 18th, a new service fee of 2.9% plus 0.30 plus 35 cents will be paid by patrons for each individual pledge. And yeah, the way it worked is the way it is the money's being taken from the patrons donating to us, to the content creators. It's going to be, they have to pay the service fee. Well, it used to be we paid the service fee. And so the way that worked was we didn't get as much money as we could because we had to pay the chunk for the service fee. And now since the pledgers are paying the service fee, we get the amount set like 5%. So we should theoretically get more money. The problem with this is because the donator is getting charged more. They're getting charged 2.9% plus 35 cents per single patronage, per single pledge. If you're someone who pledges to a bunch of people, this all adds up and costs more money. That's the problem there. And so it's going to scare off mass pledgers. That's what it really will do. And despite being this thrown at Patreon, Patreon just double downs, is like, no, we don't care about that. Like, this is going to be a good thing, in their opinion. And so basically, if you're a mass pledger who pledges a little bit to a bunch of people, it screws you over. If you only pledge to one or two people and you pledge a lot of money, then it doesn't screw you over at all. And that's kind of the case for us. We only have 4 patrons. And thank you to everyone who's done it in the past, and thank you to anyone who wishes they could. It's okay if you can't, but we have 4 patrons, and with that we have just enough money to buy a AAA every month. And of course, these are big chunk from each person, so they're donating enough that like they're not doing like $1. Like if you're doing $1 to like 10 people, that's gonna suck for you. But since they're only just donating to us, it's not so bad, and so they're good. On a side note, I really should put more effort into Patreon, or maybe not now, I don't know. We have not really messed with Patreon that much. It's just been there as a thing for people to donate to us, and I'm very thankful for that. Because of them, we were able to do Wolfenstein, we were able to do Destiny 2, we were able to do just all these, Cuphead. We were able to do these big games because of Patreon, so we've always been thankful for that. And alternatives to Patreon are starting to show up because of things like this, and we'll see what we do next. It's an important thing to keep in mind is diversifying your revenue, and that is why we have YouTube, we have Twitch, and we have Patreon. We tried doing TAD a little bit, and I really wish TAD was better about it, but they're not that great. And we may need to find other revenue streams as well. I don't know, but the entire goal of all this is to be self-sufficient enough that I could be full-time at this, and Jinx can be full-time at this as well. So that we could put in more effort into just doing amazing work and editing and just making things. That is the down the road goal, and that's why I always say like 10 years from now, because we're constantly getting better, getting more people who are interested in us, losing people as well, but getting more people interested in us as well, who want to donate or who want to put in the time to help us grow by watching or by sharing or by donating and things like that. And so always appreciative of that. And it's just important to maintain different revenue streams. Right now, Twitch isn't so bad. Like, Twitch is fine. We're an affiliate, not a partner, so we still have room to grow there. Patreon, as you can see with this, not so great. YouTube is having the apocalypse. They're in 3.0 now, so that's not great. Things that should not be demonetized are still getting demonetized. Things that should get demonetized are not getting demonetized. It is still random as all balls. And YouTube says they're going to put in more effort next year because YouTube is planning on increasing their worker size to 10,000. They're not getting 10,000 people. They're increasing to 10,000. I don't know what they are currently. I wish I knew what that number was. But they're going to climb up to 10,000 people so they can have more people to check things. And so that'll help, but it's still YouTube. It's so much going on there. And they have to rely on the AI, and they need the AI to be better than it is. For damn sure. And so we'll see what happens with that. But I don't know what'll happen. Like, it feels like there might need to be a new gaming service, just for gaming videos. Twitch isn't going to cut it unless they really go in a big way. YouTube's just screwing over game content creators. There might need to be an alternative. But the problem is that no one realizes or considers is YouTube just doesn't make a lot of money. Or if I remember correctly, they don't make a profit at all off YouTube. It's about all the other things that they make a profit on. And they keep YouTube around because YouTube is something that keeps their people's minds on Google. And that's the reason why it exists. It's just this big beast that does not make a profit, but is a big beast that's important for advertising and things like that. And so, how can you really have a YouTube alternative if it's not profitable in the first place? It's popular, but it's not profitable. That is the big thing. So, I don't really know. Like, YouTube could not necessarily crash, but everyone just gives up on it and they try to do different things, and we'll see how that goes. But I don't really know if a big YouTube alternative could come up. It would require, in a way, somewhat altruism, because they have to basically eat their money for a while until they can somehow stabilize into something worthwhile. If they can, I don't know. Now, the last topic I want to talk about, and I need my phone for this one, is the exact wording of it. Pope Francis wants to change the Lord's Prayer's line, "Lead us not into temptation," to "Do not let us fall into temptation." He fears the original suggests God can lead people to sin. So the idea is people going like, wait, what? The Pope wants to change the Lord's Prayer? That's crazy. Incorrect wording there. He wants to change the English translation from "lead us not into temptation" to "do not let us fall into temptation." Because, yeah, I always thought that was weird wording. It's like, wait, we're trying to say God might lead us into a bad thing, or what's going on here? Very weird. But no, it's just the English translation. In Spanish, it's more of the latter. In other languages, more of the latter. It's just about how it's translated. He feels like it's not translated correctly or well. So he feels it should be changed to this, because that's what the actual meaning is supposed to be. Is that God wants us to not be led in temptation. It's a little more explaining it better than the previous, which is, I forgot it already, "lead us not into temptation." And so, what I'm trying to say with this is, one, that's what's happening in case you are a Catholic, or a Christian. Besides that is how important it is to represent things correctly. Because the way to get people's attention in this one is by saying the Pope wants to change the Lord's Prayer. Not mentioning that he wants to change the translation. That's all he's trying to say. And so it's a misrepresentation while also representing, which is very kind of not good and kind of frustrating. And we see this a lot in basically news to get attention, where they won't word things perfectly, so you get it in there. And what I'm really arguing for is keeping that in mind and reading a little bit deeper. Going a little bit further on a topic, whether you agree with it or disagree with it, you should always take a second look or a second level glance at it to get a better understanding of it instead of just letting it be. Because here's another one. Detroit, Too Human. Or Becoming Human. This is a frustrating one. That is, if you saw the trailer about it, it is, you're an android maid, there's an abusive father, he's abusing his child, and you can do nothing about it, or you can do something about it. Those are your options there. But you have different groups saying it's sick that a game has you watching this, has a game having you, well, they assume you actually do the abusing. They assume that you do the abusing, that you get entertainment from it because it's in a game, that this is something that you're going to enjoy. Like, it's going to normalize it for kids and everything like that. And like, no! You are a witness to something horrible, and it's up to you whether you're going to do something about it or not do something about it. That's what it is. It's a moral dilemma because if you do something about this as an android, despite being subservient and all this stuff, that's going to cause a lot of trouble for you. But it's a kid being abused. And if I remember correctly, it's a kid that will die if you don't do something about it. That's what it is. That's exactly what it is. And it's like, it's a moral thing. It is putting it in your mind how horrible something that does happen in our world is. Child abuse is a horrible thing. And so I say it does better for people to be shown this, at least in some way. In this case, it's a game. And yet people who don't even know what they're talking about think it's about you're the one who does the abusing. Now, this is an option. This is something you can have fun doing. And it's not in any way. That's not what it is. So misrepresentation is terrible. It's important to know what the hell you're talking about, because when you do not understand what you're talking about and you do stuff like that, it just sucks for all of us. Because these are good people who are representing groups that are against child abuse, and they're railing against a game that honestly is helping them, not hurting them. That's really what it is. And so it's just terrible. So it's important to take the time. And I know we're all lazy. We all want things simplified. We don't want to take the time. But sometimes, if it's really important and it actually gets a rise out of you, it's worth taking the time to look into it. So that's it for the vlog. I just wanted to preach that, I suppose, because I think it's important. I really think it's important to keep that in mind. To not fall into a bias or something like that. Because if you're against the Pope on this one, you're like, oh, that crazy Pope, he's doing a dumb thing like that. Or something like that, you're just going to buy into the bias. Well, that's it. It's a better example is, of course, left and right. Back to politics really quick. When something really crazy or dumb is done by one side or the other, it just confirms your bias. Or if they're, even worse is when they're lies. They're lies about the other side. They get popularized because it just confirms bias. I really hate it when that happens. The left should get called out when they really do something stupid. The right should get called out when they really do something stupid. And the moderates and the centrists and all that should really get called out when they do something stupid. Everyone should get called out. But if it's based on lies, then all it does is galvanize the side that's being wrongly accused. And it doesn't help anyone. That's my thoughts. So there you go. That right there is the vlog. I had fun talking. Hope you have fun watching and listening. And that's what it's all about, isn't it? Having fun. Thanks for coming by and see you next time.